Hi everyone, this is Magda from Oberlo. We understand that a lot of you are looking to get started right now, but have a lot of questions figuring out what the best way to get started is. And one of the biggest concerns for beginners is budget. To help me explain some of these strategies, we have a very special guest, Camille from Ecom King. Let's jump into the interview. Hey, how's it going, Camille? It's so nice to see you. Thank you for jumping on the call with me today.
No worries, it's a pleasure. I'm really excited to be here.
A lot of the drop shippers that watch us on Oberlo also follow your channel and definitely have found it super helpful. So I was just wondering if you could give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself and some of your maybe accomplishments and kind of your e-commerce story.
Yeah, so my name is Camille Sattar. I'm 21 years old. I've just turned 21, May the 10th. And I started back in 2015 when I quit my day job in retail. And then I decided to also quit my college. And then I decided to start my first online business in the buying and reselling industry. And then after a year, I made some good money, built some good connections with football players in the UK, celebrities in the UK. And then that industry itself for myself didn't do too well. So then I decided to look for other business models in 2016 and 2017. And I came across drop shipping. So I got started with drop shipping and actually started my first store using WooCommerce. And then slowly after, I discovered Shopify and realized that was the better platform to use for a beginner. So then I discovered also Oberlo, which was helpful for my first store. And then the first store I generated, which made me good money, was a phone case iPhone screen protector. It was a privacy screen protector. And I was able to do my first $25,000 doing that product. And then forward a year later, I was able to do my first 1 million in revenue with a business partner. And now here I am today. And my biggest accomplishments really, I think, at the moment is being able to do 7 figures in revenue and retain a 6-figure profit margin to take home. And I've been in a lot of publications at the moment. I've been endorsed by some of the biggest companies in the industry as well. So I've got a lot of accomplishments in the industry. And considering that I started very young and I'm only 21 now, I've been in the game now for 5 years. I'm really, really happy with the kind of stuff I've been able to do.
It's really cool to hear how many times you shifted business models before you found drop shipping or before you found something that works. I think a lot of time with beginners, especially beginners that we've worked with, they come up with a challenge and they aren't able to solve it or adapt, and then they just quit rather than trying something new or altering a method and working on it. Especially when it comes to drop shipping stores, whether it's winning products or setting up a store, a lot of times they quit instead of just adapting. So it's really cool to hear how many times you switched before you found something that really worked for you.
Yeah, so I actually did 2 business models before dropshipping. Like I said, the buying and reselling industry was one of them, where I'd buy high-end luxury goods and then sell them for a profit. And then the other industry that I got involved with was network marketing as well. So I actually got involved in something with that. And they just weren't things that I was passionate about. And then when I came across dropshipping, I thought, you know what? I'm really passionate about this. I really like the concept of the business model. And like you said before, people will try something, not get the result from it, and then shift to a different business model because they think, oh, that doesn't work. But really, there's no such thing as quick success, and you have to keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah. And I think it's nice to hear from your perspective, because I feel like being 21, people might think, oh, he just started and he just found success. Whereas they don't realize that it took numerous years of you trying stuff. And then, before you kind of ended up here, they just kind of see your age. Happy belated birthday, by the way, I'll say.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because although I started when I was 15 years old, just almost turning 16, when I was at school in college, I'm not saying you should do this, but I wasn't very good at school. I wasn't very good at college. I've publicly released my school grades to let people know that I didn't do anything. I failed everything. At the end of the day, at school and at college, I wasn't doing the work that I was supposed to do. I was actually thinking of ideas to make money online. So it even started before I actually left in 2015. So it was starting in my school years, and I was just manifesting making money online. So really, if I think about it, I've been thinking about making money online for at least 6-7 years.
Wow. Okay. That's crazy. Yeah. And it takes some time to get into it. And so that's really refreshing to hear. And I think it was super helpful for beginners, because I can totally see people already in the comments being like, yeah, he's 21. He's just special. He's got something and just gets drop shipping, which I think one thing we always remind people of is, nobody was born understanding drop shipping, or nobody was born understanding Facebook ads. It's something that you just have to learn.
Yeah, totally. And the thing I want to say is, if I can do it, somebody that is dyslexic, I'm dyslexic, so I've been diagnosed with dyslexia, took some tests. Another thing is, failed school completely, and I left college. If somebody like that can come into drop shipping, understand the business model, learn it day in, day out. And the thing that separates me from everybody else is I just don't give up. As soon as I want something, I go and manifest it and I take it. At the end of the day, there's two options. You can either win or you can quit. You can't lose.
And I think that that's a great way to kind of get our videos started, especially to set people up to realize that while everyone is different, there's not that much different from you, myself, and the viewers watching. It's just kind of what you do with your time, how you adapt, and how you work with challenges and kind of succeed with them. So one of the biggest challenges beginners face, and we see comments about this all the time, is budget. When someone is getting started with dropshipping, usually they find it online. We've seen through the data, because it's a great way to get started with a business that doesn't require a lot of initial investment. But there are stories of successful dropshippers starting with a $0 budget, a few $100s, and then lots of people, hundreds of people in our comments always saying you need at least $5,000. Don't even get started unless you have 5,000. So the numbers are totally crazy and range from 0 to a few thousand. So I'm happy to have you here today so that we could discuss a few different strategies for each type of budget, whether it's a few hundred, 0, or some people have a few thousand and are ready to put the pedal to the metal and scale like crazy. Let's get started maybe with what strategy you would suggest if someone has a few $100s. So let's say less than $500. They probably are a little hesitant. Most people, I'm sure with yourself as well, you kind of set a cap for yourself. Even if they have more, they're like, I'm not spending more than 500 to see if this works, because I just don't want to blow and burn all my money. So what would you suggest for someone with that budget?
I really love this question, because the majority of people that are starting dropshipping and have started dropshipping actually started with the budget you just said, which was $500. So a few things I want to say before I get into what to do. Number one, this is a real business model. So you have to treat this like a business and not a hobby. If you can't treat this like a real business, you won't make any money. So by me saying that, you need to, if you're on the $500 budget range, you need to invest at least 3 hours a day, every single day, for this to even show you any decent results. Now, in terms of what I would do with $500 is, I would start an Instagram page. I would find a niche that I like. Now, some of the best niches at the moment are your beauty niches. That's always one that works really, really well with the kind of route I'm going down in terms of marketing strategies. So I would find something in the beauty niche. I would build an Instagram page, and I would find Instagram influencers. I'd also look at TikTok influencers, and I'd also look at Twitter influencers. I'd focus on those 3 influencer marketing platforms. And I'll DM influencers, number one, arranging a commission structure where I don't pay them up front. I just send them the product, and then we figure out, look, I will pay you 40% of the commission I'll pay you 40% of the commission you make from basically sending traffic to my website. So instead of you paying them an upfront payment of, let's say, $50, there's no risk, because you're only paying them if they actually get the money through to the actual store. So that's the actual strategy that I'd recommend everybody takes. Go onto Instagram, find some influencers. You can use a website called Clouds HQ, which is completely free. And they've got a directory, and you can search by niche, by followers, by engagement, and it will give you the list of influencers they recommend. And just DM them, just saying, look, I want to do a collaboration with you. Let's do 60-40%. I take 60, you take 40, and then I'll give you an affiliate link, and then basically work from there.
Okay, super cool. So 2 things that I got out of your answer. First of all, for everyone watching, we'll put Cloud HQ as a link in the description down below, so don't worry about writing it down. So the first thing I noticed is Instagram influencers, but with an affiliate link, which is, I think, really important. I know when I started dropshipping, I totally just blew so much money sending influencers the products and then money ahead of time, not realizing what their engagement rates were like, not actually looking at if they even had engagement from a real audience. So I feel like that's a great safeguard to make sure that, first of all, you save your wallet, and it's a lower risk for you. And second of all, it's super helpful because I feel like they'll be much more inclined to actually promote the product rather than pop it up randomly for 1 second just because you've already paid them. If they're making a commission, they're going to take the extra time to actually promote it and include it in multiple stories or whatnot. So I think that's great to hear. And the second thing that I noticed from your answer is no Facebook ads. So you would suggest that if someone has $500 or less, Facebook ads is not for you right now until you, let's say, maybe grow your business, or I'd love to get your input on that.
Oh yeah, I got some knowledge to give these people today. So basically, avoid Facebook, Google, till you've got at least $1,000. Okay, very minimum, because these platforms are getting very expensive now. Now, the great thing that I love about influencer marketing is you can collect data. So even though you're doing Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter influencer marketing, you can still get the Facebook pixel on your Shopify store. And even if you're getting traffic from those 3 marketing platforms, you can use that data you received to do lookalikes on Facebook. So let's say I've spent $500 on influencer marketing. I've made back $2,000 in profit. That's just a theoretical kind of little breakdown. Then let's say I've collected enough data. I've got enough data now to go onto Facebook, create a lookalike audience. Now, for those that don't understand what lookalike audiences are, it's basically somebody Facebook creates from people that you've drove to your website in the past. That way, when you target people on Facebook, it's a lot more accurate and the results are going to be a lot higher. So basically, you're skipping the testing phase on Facebook and you're getting straight into warm marketing targeting. That way, the chances of you getting results on Facebook are a lot higher, and you're going to lose less money. So that's the reason why I love going through the influencer marketing strategy, because you basically cut out the most expensive part of Facebook, which is testing lots of different audiences, interests, and whatnot.
Awesome. Yeah, I completely see what you mean. So just to catch our beginners up, in case anyone has not heard of a Facebook pixel before, just to get everyone up to speed. So a Facebook pixel is a small piece of code that you put in your Shopify store. It's extremely easy to install, takes about 10 minutes. And all it does is collect information about your audience, traffic, people who are coming to your website, people who are bouncing from your website, actually pressing a button or a CTA, or just leaving. And when we talk about warming up the pixel, that simply means sending more data to your website with the Facebook pixel on it, so that it starts to understand who makes a good audience and a real potential customer and who does not. And so that way, if you warm up the pixel, you will not have to spend money warming it up in the future with Facebook ads. So that's just a quick debrief, but we have lots of other videos on both of our channels about the Facebook pixel, so you can always learn more. But that's just a brief introduction. How long would you say this strategy would take to kind of get off the ground and running until you have enough to jump into Facebook ads?
Yeah, so basically you want to be DMing at least 50 to 100 influencers every single day, because at the end of the day, it's called the numbers of average, the law of numbers. Like, you're not going to get a reply off every 50 people you message. You might only get 3 or 4. So you have to keep going, keep going. And when you do this strategy, just face that you are going to get rejection. Some people say, no, I don't want to work with you. That's fine. Don't let that hurt you. Don't let that put you down. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Because trust me, there will be somebody out there that will want to work with you. Now, when you're using the strategy that I'm recommending today, you should be looking for something what we call a micro influencer, which means somebody that's got a smaller following. So somebody, let's say, under 100,000 followers on one of those social media platforms. Now, because they have less followers doesn't mean they're not going to be as good. On the other hand, typically they can actually be better than bigger followers, because their channel is less saturated. They've done less promotions, which means their audience are more perceived to actually take on these paid promotions. So that's what I'm going to say. Do 50 to 100 a day if you can. If you can't, try and do at least 30 a day, because trust me when I say this, you will only get, let's say, between 5 and 15 replies a day at best, typically from myself. Now, when you message these influencers, I'm more than happy to give yourself the DM template that I use for my businesses, and you can leave that in the description, because I want to give your audience as much value as I can. So I'm more than happy to give you guys that template, which works for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yep. Everyone watching, we'll definitely have it in the link down below, in the description box, excuse me. So that would be super helpful. Thank you so much.
No worries.
And let's make another note, everyone. That's 50 to 100 every single day. I used to, I've worked now for a few years with Oberlo, and I can't tell you how many people message 10 influencers and are like, this strategy doesn't work. This strategy doesn't work at all. So it's really important to note, everyone, that it's going to take some grinding. It's going to become easier over time once your Instagram page has more social proof, once you have more followers. But at first, it's going to take a lot of grinding. So it's better to know that ahead of time and know what you're getting yourself into before you spend any money. So thank you. That's super helpful. Let's move on to our next budget. So this budget, it's one of the most popular and one of the most popular requests we see on our channel, on our Instagram all the time. And that is for someone that has no budget. They have the bare minimum, or they're absolutely determined to bootstrap it. They're willing to pay for their domain and their, let's say, monthly Shopify fee, but they do not want to spend a single penny otherwise, whether it's by choice, by circumstance. Some people just don't believe in the model and they're like, I'm gonna, bootstrap it until I realize that this actually has some validity. So is there a strategy at all for that? And what would you suggest it to be?
Yeah, so this strategy is similar to the other one that I mentioned today. Now, with the other strategy I mentioned today, you might want to start paying influencers well a bit of money. But when you're starting with absolutely no money, you must be doing at least 4 hours to 6 hours a day. Because when you've got no money and you're just using time to try and make you that money, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time to try and get the momentum going. Now, it's going to be similar. You still want to stick to the influencer marketing route, but this time you also want to try and build your Instagram page at the same time. So you want to post on your Instagram at least 3 times a day. You want to be trying to comment on other pages to try and gain your following. You really want to try and grow your Instagram page to build more authority. And this time you want to be messaging 2 times more than in the last strategy. So you want to be messaging between 75 and 150 influencers a day. And you want to do that on each platform, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, all in the same day. So you're really going out there and blowing up the last method, but you're trying to kind of do it more often than not.
Mm-hmm. Now with affiliate marketing, it's nice because, you don't have to, other than, let's say, them getting the product, again, you don't have to worry about paying them up front. So I can see how this strategy is good for someone with absolutely zero budget. Now, so you would suggest that if someone is getting started with zero budget, that they should use all the social channels, not focus on one, not just Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, but instead use all 3 of them.
All 3. And like I said, with this strategy, you need to be putting at least 4 to 6 hours in a day. And the reason why, and you're probably thinking, damn, that's a lot of time, is because, trust me, messaging 100 to 150 people a day on each platform can take between 2 hours on each of them. So if you divide that by 3, you can see the kind of hours you need to be putting in. And Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram are the 3 ones that tend to get you best results. Now, a massive tip, Twitter and TikTok are the 2 most untapped, most profitable influencer marketing methods at this current time. Instagram's not as good as those other 2 platforms in this current time we're in today.
If I was just getting started and I had no budget and I was, messaging influencers, I think my first concern as a beginner would be that I have no social proof. My Instagram is looking really, I may have tons of posts, but I have, like, let's say, I don't know, maybe 30, 50 followers. What do you think, what amount of followers would you suggest someone kind of works towards that would be good enough social proof, or is that not important at all?
I love this question because a lot of people ask this now. In terms of when you're starting and you're trying to go down this influencer marketing route, and this applies to every social media platform, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. So this applies to every single one of them. Now, does it matter that you got to follow him? Me personally, I don't think it does. Now, you do need at least 10 followers. I do recommend getting at least 10 followers, and you can get that from your friends, your family, whatnot. Do not pay for followers. That is just a massive no-no. Do not do it, okay? Just don't pay. Now, you can get, like saying, getting your friends, getting your family to support you. If not, warm your Instagram account up, warm your Twitter account up, warm your TikTok account up. Do a week of just posting, trying to get viral content, trying to get mentions, trying to get tags. Just try and warm it up for a week if you're worried. Now, I don't think you need 100 followers. I think just 10 followers with at least 5 posts on your platform is more than enough. Because when you work with an influencer, they're going to post it on their page, not your page. They might mention you in the page, but the likelihood of them clicking on you is very unlikely, because normally when you work with an influencer, they'll put the link in their description, or on Instagram, they might put it on the swipe up. So if they view the story, they'll swipe up. So that way they're never going to see your page because they're going straight to your website. So it doesn't really ever matter. As long as you've got at least 5 posts on there, decent content, unique content, then you're good to go, and at least 10 followers.
Awesome. Now, one thing that I think a lot of beginners have been kind of worried about right now, especially with coronavirus and all that going on, is they want to jump in and get started, and they don't want to have to wait for a sample product to take content shots or take their own product photos. Do you think it's imperative to take your own product photos for Instagram and TikTok? Or do you think you can get away with using the ones on AliExpress and kind of, remaking them a little bit, editing them a little bit? What's your take on that?
Beautiful question. Love this one. Now, it all depends on the platform. Every platform is different. The kind of content you should post on every platform is different because the behavior on the platform is totally different. Now, with Twitter, this is Twitter is the easiest one to get content for. So easy. And I made a challenge video on my channel showing the process of Twitter influencer marketing. So it's definitely something good for those guys to watch. Now, in terms of Twitter influencer marketing, you basically want to get footage, video footage, where it looks realistic. It looks like the influencer that you're working with actually posted it. It doesn't need to look flashy. It doesn't need to look good. It just needs to look raw in the flesh. So you can get that kind of content on TikTok. So I actually find all my content for Twitter influencers on TikTok, and I make sure that I source the credit of the person that made the video by leaving the source credit. That way, obviously, I'm not doing anything bad. I'm actually giving credit to the person that owns the content. And you should always also try and ask them if you can give permission for them to use it, obviously for your own benefit. Now, another thing that I want to mention, that's Twitter out the way. Now, in terms of Instagram, now, if you want to try and get your product to your influencer as quick as you can actually order pretty much the same products on Amazon and get them sent out a lot quicker. So instead of waiting 40 days, go on Amazon, they'll get it within a couple of days. So that's a great way of getting around that problem. Now, you can get away with sometimes using the content you can find on AliExpress, also YouTube, but again, just make sure that you've got permission to use that content if you can. In terms of TikTok, the best content you can make for TikTok is actually getting that product sent to yourself or sent to somebody that knows what they're doing. Because with TikTok, it's all about having a laugh. It's all about it's like comedy kind of videos, if that makes sense. So you need to try and get yourself to be enjoyable and laughable whilst making that content. And that's those 3 platforms covered.
Now let's move on to our last category. So there's definitely people out there who have, a few $1,000s saved and are ready to invest into e-commerce. I think it's been a few years now since people first discovered drop shipping and were feeling didn't believe that it was true, or thought that this was a scheme or of some sort, but now have seen how many successful people have built businesses online with drop shipping and want to do the same. So let's say, for example, they have at least $1,000 to $5,000 to invest. What marketing strategy would you suggest for them?
Oh, okay, this is a beautiful answer. This one is, now, if you're working with the $1,000 to $5,000, you should definitely look into Facebook ads and potentially Google ads. But Facebook ads is the one that I'd recommend the majority of people focus on. It's easier to learn personally, and it's a lot more scalable than Google. And the kind of products you can use on Facebook are a lot more wider than Google, because obviously Google's search engine marketing, so there's only a certain amount of products that can work well for Google. But I would be focused on your Facebook ads, your Google ads. Now, something that most people don't talk about, YouTube ads are one of the best strategies at the moment. Very cheap cost per clicks, very cheap cost per results. And that's something that me and my business partners are working a lot on at the moment.
Wow. Okay. So Facebook ads. So you would actually suggest that someone should just jump straight to Facebook ads instead of starting with the influencer marketing that you suggested before?
Yeah, because with influencer marketing, it's very time intensive. Now, even if you're willing to pay these influencers, it still takes time because you have to message them. You have to agree on contracts. I hope that you guys are sending these influencers contracts to make sure that when you pay them, they stick to what you tell them to do. Obviously, they can't break their terms. So that can all take a lot of time. Obviously, getting them to post it, that can take a lot of time. So with Facebook, obviously, you're just going to set up your campaigns, publish, they're off. You're going to get results coming in, whether it be clicks, whether it be views, whether it be visitors, sales. It's going to come in a lot faster than the influencer route.
Got it. So I think overall, it's pretty clear that if you have less money to get started, it's still possible, but it's going to take way longer and a lot more time investment. And then if you have more money, it will just be faster for you to kind of get off the ground. And in terms of getting off the ground, getting customer information, warming up your pixel, and start running bigger ads to more people. So that's really awesome to hear. Now,
something that I do want to say though, I don't want people to think, oh, I've got all this money, I'm going to be super successful, super quick, I'm going to have more of a chance of winning than these guys with low budgets. Now, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't know what you're doing because you don't have the skills or the knowledge, you can have all the money in the world, you're going to lose it. So don't think because you've got lots of money, you're going to get a lot of success, because if you don't have the knowledge to go with it, then nothing's going to happen. So don't get cocky and think, oh, I've got this money, I can get the results. Make sure that you educate yourself first and then do it.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think definitely the first time I ran Facebook ads, I thought, easy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pump some money into this. And yeah, it was a really good learning lesson. It doesn't matter how much you have, it will still take you a lot of time to actually learn it. And that's, a really, really important point to make. Now, when it comes to running Facebook ads, how long would you suggest learning them? We can just touch on this briefly because Facebook ads can be its own video. And I know you have a lot of videos on your channel dedicated to Facebook ads. So everyone, don't forget to check those out for more in-depth. But if someone is just getting started, should they, take a course on Facebook ads first? Should they watch, how many videos should they watch? What do they need to know before they're like, okay, now I can, the money I've saved, I feel confident to start spending it?
Yeah, 100%. This is very good. Don't just go and dive into Facebook. Just don't do that. You're going to lose a lot of money. Now, a few topics I want to cover about Facebook ads is you want to kind of understand the platform. You want to understand what they mean. You want to understand what the metrics mean, things like CPM, CPCs, CTRs. That's probably going to mean nothing to a lot of you guys, but it's important that you understand what these mean. They're KPIs and you must understand them. Now, you can go onto YouTube for free and find out what all of this means. Now, you can go to courses and get this done a lot quicker, or you can just go online and find some free content to help you. Now, what I will say is if you're going to learn from somebody or somewhere, try and stick to one person, because with Facebook ads, everybody has their own way of doing it. Everybody has their own strategies behind it. So if you're learning from person A, person B, and person C and putting it together, not going to work. Learn from one person and follow their strategy and how they do things. Because if you learn from multiple people, it's going to be an absolute mess.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. When we started this channel, we were interviewing successful dropshippers. And I think our idea was that as we interviewed more people, we would kind of get one puzzle piece for Facebook ads, another puzzle piece, and we would make one simple, easy to follow guide for Facebook ads. And it was so crazy to see how different everyone's strategies are, and completely different, even if when it comes down to certain buttons or certain settings, people were die hard one way or die hard the other way. And they're like, no, the other way, it's never going to work for you. And yet both had results, amazing results. So I completely agree. For everyone listening out there, you have to trust. This is one difficult thing. You just have to trust in a strategy, especially if someone has proven their results to you and you've seen them. Just stick to it. Don't start flip-flopping, because that's when you'll see a lot of money loss, which none of us want for you. So that's extremely helpful to hear. Now, when it comes to Facebook ads, would you ever suggest for someone that does have lots of money to spend, outsourcing Facebook ads to, let's say, for example, someone else, or should you always learn it yourself because you'll find better results? Because we have seen people in the past ask us, is it better if I hire someone on Fiverr to do this, for example? So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I love this question. It makes me chuckle a little bit because I get a lot of people even ask me this on my Instagram, and I'm like, oh no. Let me just put this to you: if it was as easy just to hire somebody on Fiverr and do it, then a lot of people would be rich. Now, Facebook ads, in terms of the dropshipping business model, in terms of all the things that come into it, things like product research, website development, in my opinion, 70% of the success comes from the marketing. Now, if you can't learn how to do the Facebook advertising yourself, then honestly, don't do it. Now, me personally, run multiple stores. I have VAs that do my customer service for me, do my order fulfillment for me. The one thing that I'll never let anybody else touch for me is my Facebook ads, because I am very, very passionate about, I'm an expert. I've been doing this for 5 years. I know what to look for, and I don't know many people that can replace my kind of knowledge. Now, if you do want to go out there and hire somebody, this is the God's honest truth. You need to be paying an agency at least $10,000 a month. Those kind of agencies that charge that money know what they're doing. Anybody else, honestly, they don't know what they're doing.
Wow. Okay, for everyone out there, I think that was so helpful to hear from someone who's an expert. if you don't have $10,000 to invest per month for Facebook ads, don't bother wasting your money and just take the time to learn it instead. Wow, that's a really great lesson. I really appreciate that, because I think that sets a nice hard line for people where they're like, well, how much money? Because I know some people still out there will be like, well, I can spend a little extra money, but it's just not worth it. And I think ultimately for a lot of beginners too, it's important that they understand in this business, you do everything at first. You know, you are the marketer, you have to run the Facebook ads, you have to do customer service. And that comes with the job, that comes with running this type of business at first. And, you know, you either need to accept it and just start learning, or, you know, maybe consider another option, because that is the fact of the matter. So that is so helpful to hear. Thank you. Hopefully everyone watching has found this super helpful. You know, we'll be leaving Camille's links down in the description below, and let us know what budget you started with. And if you could go back in time, what would you do differently? And most importantly, if you want to see more videos like this and with Camille on our channel, just let us know down in the comments below. And yeah, any final comments?
I just want to say a massive thank you to Oberlo for having me on the channel today. I hope you guys have learned a lot. And Oberlo is a great company doing a lot of great things for the community. And what you guys are one of the day ones in the industry. So I really do appreciate you. And I hope everybody's found some value in this. I'll also be commenting in the comment section of this video, trying to help as many people as I can if they have any questions related to today's video. Also, if you want to see a part 2, let us know in the comment section below.
Amazing. Okay. And that's it for this video. So happy drop shipping, everyone, and we'll see you next video.